Right, hello. I don't really know how to start this one off, to be honest. Haven't really thought up a good introduction, so I suppose hopefully the quality's better than the last one. I did prop my phone up on my daughter's fire truck on a table. I don't think that went quite so well. The first shot ended up being just my knees, and I did it by hand, shaking loads, so hopefully this one doesn't look as bad. Hopefully, but yeah, I suppose this one I wanted to just focus and talk around my own experiences around retro gaming. I suppose it all started way back from probably one of the earliest memories I can recall. I was going down to my cousin's house and just popping into his room. He had a Mega Drive at the time. I just remember playing this game and going, "This is incredible, absolutely love it." And it was just Streets of Rage. Oh, it was incredible. Such a good game, and I think from then it just sort of flourished and growed, straight up to I suppose my first ever console or gaming device, because it's not really a console, was one of my dad's friends who come around. They have two kids, and he had like the old brick Game Boy, the one with like 4 batteries in it that took a lot to charge up. I remember that. I run around the house, ripping out all the TV remotes, finding everything with batteries in it just to play a bit of, I got Tetris, and maybe a Pokemon game, can't really remember. But yeah, I played that quite a bit, and I think because of all the battery theft in the house, I think that's why that Christmas my dad ended up getting me a Game Boy Color, and I think it just started from there. And that's probably when I got a little bit more addicted, playing Pokemon Yellow non-stop, holidays, after school, every minute that I could get into it. Just had to collect them all. Pokemon was big back then, really big. And I suppose the other memory I always had was my dad had a work laptop, and in his office he would let me play it sometimes. He had Space Invaders installed on it, and it was just fantastically fun. I suppose it's the closest one to like an arcade game, because I suppose arcade games during my time, the only ones I remember ever playing would be like, I think it's Time Crisis. There wasn't any, I suppose, in my era in like the 90s or early 2000s. You didn't have the likes of all the greats like Pac-Man, and and I think for me it's quite interesting because nowadays this whole retro gaming thing seems to be growing exponentially. I suppose with the whole COVID and lockdown and everyone being indoors, everyone's just reminiscing about all their previous memories. Like I kept thinking about all the times I had with my original PlayStation and playing Crash 2. I think that was the very first game I got with it, that and V-Rally. And I think my cousin ended up being the worst driver I've ever seen. I've never met a child who would actually drive it like it was a real car. You have the likes of Atari, they're coming out with the VCS soon. I'm not even sure if that's even out yet. I've seen some videos about it. You've got the Intellivision Amico, that's going to be coming out soon. You have that whole flurry of mini consoles, and I picked up a few of them. I think I got one here actually. This is the creme de la creme. Look how cute that is. I mean, you can literally just pop that in your bag, take it with you. It's incredible. Yeah, and those mini consoles have been growing for years, so I suppose everyone else sees a bit of a gap in the market for it, and especially now when you're thinking about all those games you didn't play, I suppose, when you were a kid. And I always find it quite funny that back then I had all the time in the world to play video games, and yet no money to buy them. It was always saving up for months and months, just trying to get a game, and then when you're getting a new game you'd have to get rid of some of your old ones, and there's always that risk of getting stuck with one that was utterly rubbish. I mean, this isn't anything personal, but it was just from what I remember. I remember getting rid of a lot of PS1 games. I think I had like 3 at the time. Sold them all off, saved up for a few months, like little bits of pocket money here and there. Skipping the bus to school so I can save £1. Yeah, that's the measures I went to back then. And then I ended up getting G-Police, if anyone remembers that, in the PS1. And oh my goodness, I don't know why. If it's just back then, but I absolutely hated it. And I thought, I'm stuck with this now. I can't believe I saved up for so long and then I'm stuck with this. Actually, I would like to go back and play it. I just wonder if it's just during that time, because I know way back then I didn't even like someone lent me Zelda on the Game Boy, and I didn't really like it back then, because even as a kid, my goodness, I would do anything to avoid reading. Like even in school, if there was a book assessment, I would just pick Lord of the Rings. I've seen the film, can write about it, and I mean the teachers saw right through that. They're just like, you've literally wrote out the plot of the entire film. The books are a little bit different, and I was like, well, never was one for reading. And then with Zelda, you just run around. It's like, I'm bored now, I don't know what to do. And then you look fast forward now with all like the remakes of it, and I've been going back and playing the old ones, and they're incredible. So it's just funny how things like that change. Yeah, so I think for me it was probably a couple of years ago I sort of went into this YouTube rabbit hole of videos. I was just watching a video on the side, then it went into, I can't remember, but I think it was like one of those Metal Jesus ones, like a PS1 buying guide. And I was looking through it and I was like, oh, there's so many great games there that I never played. And then so many that I'd sort of played through, maybe not completed, and then others I was like, oh, I'd love to replay like the original Crash Bandicoot games again. Because I think only at the time I only played 2 and 3. Never played the first one. And then I think it was a few weeks later I went to my partner's dad's house and he was going through all their stuff in the attic, and then he pulled out this original PS1. But look at that. That this is memories. So this isn't my one, but I did have one back in the day, the same model, to be honest. So it's not bad, Nick, to be fair. It still works. Yeah, so I remember getting that. That was exciting. Picked up a few games from my past, plugged that in, started playing that again, and it's just sort of spiraled from there. And I think I was talking to someone in work about it, and then they mentioned the Evercade, and I thought, I'd sort of been looking into these like little handheld ones where you can play all your retro games. I'd had a few ROMs that I've been playing here and there, but I always felt the problem with them is you have tens of thousands of games across every system, and then you end up playing the same games over and over again, and it's just hard to find games you like without like going onto YouTube, seeing like these hidden gems and great games that maybe I've missed and picking up them. But yeah, I think I'd spent months thinking about it, and then I'd seen him play it before, the Evercade, and then I liked the idea of having the physical cartridge with like a handful of games on it, because I've discovered a few games that I'd never played before, like some older Atari games, like what is it, Ninja Golf, absolutely hilarious. Yeah, so the Evercade was sort of an interesting one for me, and I think that really was when I started to really get back into playing older games, playing arcade games I've never played before. If you had played the likes of, I suppose, the classics like Tetris, Pac-Man, Space Invaders again, yeah, they were all great, to be honest. Yeah, I think with everyone you always have these like sort of points in your life where you stop gaming for ages. I remember I'd played video games right up until I was going to university, and I sort of fell off it a bit, didn't really play any games, and then real life hits, and then you end up having a job and you hardly have any time, and you start building up, you have all these games that you just don't have time to play, and obviously as life goes on you end up having a family, you have kids, and then yeah, you end up, it goes back in reverse. So when you're a kid you have all this time to play video games and then no money to actually buy any, and then now you have all the games but no time to play them, which is always quite funny. Yeah, but if anyone out there has any other recommendations of games, let me know. I've been playing through Castlevania games again, that's been pretty fun. I'd say my favourite's probably Super Castlevania 4, I think, that was on the Super Nintendo. That's probably one of my favourite ones that I'm really crap at it. Contra I've been playing a bit more of again, although again, bad at it. Yeah, I've found a few shoot 'em ups, like arcade shoot 'em ups I've been playing recently, sort of on my TV and emulating it on my computer. They've been actually quite good, and I think that's one of the reasons why I've got more and more into the Switch, because it's sort of got the nice match between a few modern games and quite a few good retro collections. In fact, I've got quite a lot of retro games on the Switch, so I tend to juggle between playing on the Switch, Evercade, and then I still do play ROMs, to be fair, on my TV, and I'll play it on a bigger screen, and then occasionally I'll use the older hardware, like plug in the PS1 again, because there's just something a little bit different than when you're playing on an emulator and the real thing. It's actually nice to plug in the actual console again, just to hear that like startup PlayStation sound. Like that has real strong nostalgia to it. But for me, I think it's always more than just nostalgia, to be honest. I also just play, get bored. Like even games I hadn't played before as a kid. Like to be honest, I never really played Contra when I was a kid. I played Streets of Rage a little bit just at my cousin's house, but never really fully played it through. Yeah, the games like Castlevania, even the old Zelda games, I never really played much as a kid. So all these classics I've never really played off. So for me, it's not just nostalgia. I do love some of the newer modern titles, but to be honest, there's still something unique and different about picking up a classic game. There's just something about it. Like I always feel like the soundtracks are better, like especially on the old Mega Drive games. The soundtracks are just incredible and they're so much fun. If you enjoyed the video, let me know what you think. If anyone's got any recommendations of games I should play next, I'm always on the lookout to create a big list. I'm also wondering if there's anything out there like Goodreads but for video games, because at the minute like, I have like a spreadsheet, that's how sad it is, of like little gems that people recommend, or if other people have mentioned it before they want to play in the future. But I was always wondering if there's like an app like Goodreads you can keep track of games you've played easily, games you want to play. Because for books it's absolutely brilliant. I never have to think, I just look at my Goodreads, next book, boom, start reading that, and it's always just there, it's always logged. So I was always wondering if there's a video game version of that, to be honest. But until the next one, I think I better come up with a better outro. But thanks for watching. I'll see you again next week.